It is Saturday. Oh, not Saturday. It is Sunday Night Live. What's going on, my brothers? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? It is BMI 3000 Reloaded in the house once again. And this is another Black Men's Independence presentation. What's up? What's up? What's up? Mr. Smith, man, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Thank you for the support, man. Thank you for the support, man. You bought the book, Beyond Death and Jail. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. We are glad that you are supporting the work that is done on my end and the work that's done among all the brothers in our space. Yes, 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 yes. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We've had an interesting week, guys. We've had a fascinating week, and we got to talk about what this week means as we go forward. So you guys come in, man. Good to see you, Red Pill, Sleeper Cell. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. We got to talk about the future. We got to talk about the days ahead. We've got to talk about the next 10 to 12 years. Because in this space where we deal with Black men's issues, we play the long game. No. No, we don't believe in immediate gratification. No, we don't believe in immediate gratification. What's going on, Phoenix Rising? Going on, Phoenix Rising. Good to see you, man. Glad that you were here, Ivanka. 2028, I hear you. Hey, the Simpsons have been around for a long time, so I wouldn't write them off. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Brother, truth be told. Brother, truth be told. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. It's Sunday night, and it is March 9th, 2025. Man, I tell you, man, I tell you. Brothers, we are living in historic times. That's and I'm being generous about this. We are living in historic times, and I never thought that I would ever live to see days like this. An old man like me. I'm 51 years old. I will be 52 in September, and I never thought that I would watch a radical turn in history. I never thought a radical turn such as this. I never thought I would live to see the day. Detro 0861. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, ghetto user? What's going on? What's going on, man? Y'all see that thumbnail up there? Y'all see the thumbnail? You see it. You see one of the real housewives. And I'm being generous because as far as I've researched, she doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have any children. She's over the age of 40. She has reached that place that we call the wall. She has reached the wall, man. She is hitting the proverbial wall, my brother. The proverbial wall. Ghetto user, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Indigo Flow is in the house. Good to see you, Indigo Flow. Indigo Flow is in the house. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Yeah. Rogue Pill, what's going on? Peace to you, man. Peace to you. Peace to you. Peace to you. Peace to you, my brother. This is BMI 3000 Reload in the house on a Sunday night. This is Sunday Night Live. Sunday Night Live. And we got some business to attend to. I'm going to try to keep this kind of short. Not going to be here all night long. If we get real fired up, I might drop the link. We'll see. But I'm not going to promise anything to you. But I need to say this. I've been watching everything that has happened, which has unfolded, particularly since Donald Trump's address to Congress and the fallout from that, the pathetic Democratic fallout from that, and what that means in terms of going forward. Revelated the spirit of indifference. What's going on? Yes, we are refined. We are refined, man. I hear you, man. We are refined, brother. I embrace age. I don't run from age. And I know that you guys who are in your 50s, you guys who are in your 40s, you guys who are older, in your 60s, we might have some brothers up in here in their 70s. We don't run from age. We do not run from Father Time. We embrace it because we get better. We get better with age. Dr. Thunder is in the house. What's going on, man? Salute to you, Dr. Thunder. Good to see my colleague in arms. Y'all check out Dr. Thunder. Y'all check out Dr. Thunder's morning show. The Monday morning show with Dr. Thunder. Y'all check him out. Y'all check out his Wednesday show. Y'all check out his Friday show. Y'all check out Dr. Thunder. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Good to see all you brothers. Good to see all you brothers. Yeah. Jasmine Crockett. She is a reality star, man. This woman, it is obvious to me that this woman wants to be a celebrated entertainer. It is so obvious. It is so obvious. She is a very, very interesting study. And I'm not gonna demonize her tonight. I'm not gonna demonize her. I'm not gonna throw her under the bus. I'm gonna encourage her. I'm going to encourage Jasmine Crockett. I'm going to encourage The View. I'm going to encourage the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm going to encourage all of the Democratic Congress people and senators and everything to continue to do what they are doing. Continue to do what you are doing because you are digging a very, 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 very deep hole, which we shall call your grave. These people are digging their graves. They're digging their graves, guys, right before our eyes. And we brothers, we got to get ready for what comes down the road as these people self-destruct in front of our very eyes because they have no vision. And as the prophet said, where there is no vision, the Democratic Party perishes. They have absolutely no vision. They have basically confirmed. Nub Glory, good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. I see that. Sheldon Daniels, I see it. I've seen some of his social media videos where he is running against her. And so we're going to keep our eye on that. And he has a very, very straightforward platform. This guy, he is unambiguous. He is an unambiguous heterosexual black man. He makes it clear on his platform that he is a family man, and he is a man who is interested in the black community, all members of the black community. There are over 40 million people who are classified as black and American. He's not one of these people who are only concerned about 1% of black people. Yeah, so he's not one of these people who wants to reduce black people to black women and girls. And he's not one of these black people who want to reduce black people to gays and lesbians and transgenders and all that kind of stuff. This brother seemingly is about the whole gospel or the full gospel. That's what I'm talking about right there. The full gospel. Mr. GQ Smith, what's up? 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 We in the house. The black toxic masculinist is here. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? My man Zen is in the house. Zen is in the house. Yeah. Detroit 313. Hey, I hear you. Make that 2036. I guess I'm just being fair to them. I'm trying to be fair to these people. I shouldn't be fair. I have no reason to be fair. They have not been fair to us. They have not been fair to us. But y'all see the thumbnail. Y'all see the thumbnail. The thumbnail, my friends, is the face of the end. Yeah, she represents the face of the end. What's up, Salty Balls? Up in the house, man. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. Good to have you here. Good to have you here, man. Y'all check out Machismo TV, man. Machismo TV. We have done we've had so little and we've done so much with so little, man. That we continue to make miracles over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. We've done so much with so little for so long. Y'all check out Machismo TV. Salty Balls, that's my man right there. That's it. But I'm not gonna waste any time, man. I'm not gonna waste any time. Yeah, I put Jasmine Crockett on the thumbnail for this particular stream because she represents failure. She represents decline. She represents the de-evolution of the Democratic Party, brothers. You know. I have to tell you, brothers, that this is I'm inclined to say the saddest thing that I've seen politically in my lifetime. I really do want to say that I knew that the handwriting was on the wall back in 2020. I knew it before then, but back in 2020, the handwriting was just on the wall, man. When Joe Biden and Kamala Harris became the Democratic Party's ticket for the presidency back then, I knew something deep down told me that this would be the beginning of the end of the Democratic Party. I knew that deeply because this was the first time in my voting career that I did not vote for a Democrat. I voted third party. I was completely flustered. I was angry. I was turned off. I was peed off. I did video after video, even leading up to the election, talking about how corrupt weak and sorry these people actually are. I did that back in 2020. Okay, you can go back into my archive and you go back to the 2020 election, and I talked about Joe Biden and I talked about Kamala Harris together as a team. I did videos on Kamala Harris and the sisterhood, and I literally said in a video that I did on Kamala and the sisterhood that these people cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. And they don't deserve, at least I can speak for me, they don't deserve my vote. They have not earned my vote. That Democratic Party had demonstrated to me that it had nowhere to go. It had no real response to Donald Trump. This was about the status quo. They were trying to play a conservative game with conservatives that they just can't beat. They just can't beat them. And although they had one term in the White House, they still were unable to put forward a vision. They were still unable to think into the future. And here we are right now. Here we are in 2024. And we are witnessing the complete collapse, the demise of the Democratic Party. And right now, it is a tragic demise because you've got people like Jasmine Crockett, who is not really a politician. She is an entertainer. She is an attention seeker. She wants clicks. She wants views. She's using politics for something else. And she belongs to a generation, man. She belongs to a generation of politicians that we are witnessing right now crash and burn. I don't have to tell you about Tiffany Henyard, who works on a smaller scale in Dalton, Alabama. I want to give a shout out to Pink Book Lessons. I've been looking at what's happening in Jonesboro, Georgia. There's another Democratic politician who just resigned, a woman, Afro-American woman who was a mayor. She's being audited. You've got the mayor, Mayor Bass out in California. She's crashing and burning. You had Lori Lightfoot, who served one term as a mayor of Chicago, Illinois. And now she's been succeeded by Brandon Johnson. He's crashing and burning right now. You have all of these black faces, and it's not just a black face, but you got all of these black faces who are demonstrating to us the obsolescence of this Democratic Party, the obsolescence of this party. It is done. It is over with. That they cannot move forward. I want to give a shout out to Tim Black. I don't know if you guys know who Tim Black is. I don't know if you follow Tim Black's content. I suggest that you go check out Tim Black. Tim Black is another guy who's an independent. Tim Black is a Gen X guy. He does real good work. He's a big critic of the Democratic Party. And Tim Black is kind of like, a lot of us, man, who are in our 50s. This guy, Tim Black he and I are the same age. And based on what I've seen from his own material, man, he has the same frustrations that I have and that others have had. We voted for Bill Clinton back in 1992. We voted for Bill Clinton back in 1996. We voted for Al Gore back in 2000. We voted for John Kerry back in 2004. And we voted for Barack Obama in 2008. And some of us had the audacity to vote for Hillary Clinton back in 2016. And I'm going to say this: since Obama, this party has gradually declined. And now it is in a place where it is totally ineffectual. Nobody can take these people seriously. Thank you, Salty Balls. Thank you, Salty Balls, for that generous contribution, man. Salty Balls says, black men, you don't forget it until black men said that the Democratic Party wasn't cool anymore. It was so. We have that swag, that shine, that glow, that flow. Until we get what we want, nobody will own the villainy. We have reduced them to a fringe group. Absolutely. And that is exactly what they are. They are now an obsolete fringe group. A fringe group. I'm gonna tell you, man, they're kind of like the Seventh-day Adventist church now. The Seventh-day Adventists. Most people don't even know who the Seventh-day Adventists are. The Seventh-day Adventists, it's a very noble Christian tradition. And I don't want to throw shade. I don't want to throw shade at the Seventh-day Adventists because it's a very, very noble tradition. I know people who came up in that tradition, but the Seventh-day Adventist tradition has always been a minority. It has always been a Christian organization that has existed in relative obscurity. The only other group that compares to is perhaps the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, everybody knows who Jehovah's Witnesses are, but the Jehovah's Witnesses are a very small group. But these groups exercise no real power in terms of politics. They exert no real power in terms of the shaping and moving of culture. And then I will, to be inclusive, to be racially inclusive, I will add the Mormons out of Utah, Brigham Young. The Mormons they're a significant group, but Mormonism has never been a major player culturally, politically, economically in the United States. We know Mormonism through Mitt Romney. That's it, Mitt Romney. And Mitt Romney tried to run for the president of the United States back in 2012. He didn't try, he did. And we know how that turned out. And we have not heard from Mitt Romney ever since he ran for the presidency of the United States. So that's basically where this Democratic Party is right now. And it has become a shell of itself. A shell of itself, guys, a shell of itself. And we are talking about a party. Here's the thing, guys. We are talking about a party that has had tremendous influence on the political landscape of the United States over decades, man. Decades. You know, the Democratic Party gave you the New Deal. The Democratic Party gave us civil rights legislation. The Democratic Party opened up a lot of things in this country tied to Hollywood. It is tied to Hollywood. The Democratic Party is tied to corporate America, the Fortune 500. The Democratic Party is tied to colleges and universities. You'll be hard pressed to walk on a college or a university campus in this country and meet someone who is not connected to the Democratic Party. If it's not directly, It is indirectly, some fashion or another. Most professors who vote tend to vote as Democrats. There are very few professors who are, at least outwardly, that is, Republican. But the Democratic Party is married to media. It has been married to all of the major cultural institutions that dominate the United States of America. Okay, I mean, they push gay rights. They pushed it so hard. They pushed gay rights so hard over the course of 3 decades. They pushed gay rights so hard over the course of 3 decades that people who are LGBTQ have seen more progress in terms of their agenda in 30 years. In 30 years, the gay people, they've seen more gains in terms of their movement in 30 years than Black Americans have seen in terms of the struggle towards racial justice over the past 150 years. 150 years. Black people struggling for racial justice. Just think about this. Over the last 150 years, the gays come around, and in 30 years, they darn near destigmatize homosexuality. They get so many advancements. They get a flag on the White House lawn. Every doggone Western nation in the world is waving the rainbow flag. You understand, pushing gay rights. The Democratic Party was instrumental in doing that. The Democratic Party pushed Black people to the side. They pushed Black people to the side. They brought in millions and millions and millions and millions of people from different countries who were not citizens over the last 30 years. Millions, and they flooded this country with people from other countries, many of whom did not go through the proper channels. And I'll be fair, a lot of people did go through the right channels, and they came in the right way. But that's the Democratic Party. Now, they did it with the Republicans, but that's the Democratic Party. But now here we are. And the Trump machine, as I said to you before in my prior stream, the Trump machine was like a bulldozer in front of a structure, a building, a 10-story building with people living inside of it. Just think about this. Just think about a bulldozer in front of a 10-story building with people inside of it, and Trump just ran that bulldozer through that doggone building. Complete collapse. Now you got them celebrating Al Green. What exactly did Al Green do when he was in the chambers of Congress waving his cane, hollering and screaming at Trump? What exactly did he accomplish? And he got escorted out. Later on, he was censored, and they are celebrating him as though he got some major legislation through Congress or what have you. Pathetic. You got Negroes out here still singing "We Shall Overcome." I want you to think about that. These Negroes are still singing "We Shall Overcome." They've reduced Black people who are Democrats and white people to the 1950s. The 1950s. I want you to think about that. This basically says that these people have no imagination. These people, their strategy, their so-called resistance strategy towards Donald Trump is stuck in 1955, 1956, 1957, 1963. These people are stuck. Singing "We Shall Overcome," singing the Negro national anthem, the Negro singing James Weldon Johnson's classic hymn in 2025, and that's all they got. You got congresswomen out here making videos, cosplaying, pretending to be characters in video games. Characters. The party is over. The party is over. They are done. They are finished. Trump has completely upended everything. It's Trump, it's Elon, it's the Republican Congress. They've got the courts on their side. It's the executive orders. It's regulating the economy. It's eliminating DEI. It's all of these things. It's all of these efforts to get rid of waste, draining the swamp. And we are barely 2 months in. We are barely 2 months into this administration. And these people are getting on The View. They're getting on CNN. They're getting on MSNBC. They're talking to whoever will listen. And when you listen to them talk and you listen to the stuff that they're saying about this administration, and this administration has only been in office roughly 2 months, you would think that Donald Trump was in his second term. You would think the way they're talking about Donald Trump, you would think that that Donald Trump actually amended the Constitution and extended, I'm sorry, not the second term. Let me back that up. That Donald Trump was in his third term. I'm going to put it like that. That's the correction. I got to correct that. You would think that Trump is in his third term, that he put forward another constitutional amendment that would eliminate the 2-term limit for the presidency. And now he is in his third term, and he is engaged in what some have called the imperial presidency. This is how weak these people are. And they are pathetic. Pathetic. And I was listening. Thank you, Nub Glory. Thank you, Nub Glory. Let me just read this. Looking back with 2020 hindsight, FBA men should have left the Democratic Party when B-Dubs defected to the radical films in the 60s, but FBA men have finally walked away. Better late than never. You're absolutely right, my brother. Better late than ever. Better late than never. You would think Donald Trump was in his third term. That the Constitution has given him the power to govern, to be POTUS into his mid 80s. They're losing. They're losing. Hell, they've lost. It's done. And they're not coming back. And I'm here tonight, this evening, talking with you guys because I want you guys to go ahead and prepare for the future, prepare for the next 12 years, prepare for the next 12 years, because the Democratic Party has no response to what the Republican Party has. They don't have the manpower. They don't have the woman power. They don't have the youth power. They don't have a roster. They don't have succession. They don't have leaders. I keep saying this over and over and over again. They are like chickens running around the yard with their heads cut off. Chickens in the plural. They have absolutely no leadership. They have no leadership whatsoever. What they have is misleadership. What they have are minstrels. Jasmine Crockett is a minstrel. She is a clown. She is a buffoon. She is a dunce. And they have put her out there as the face of the future of the Democratic Party. And she represents the disintegration and the demise of this political party. I want them to continue to boost her and other people like her, loudmouth people, the people who talk like The View, Whoopi Goldberg, Sony Hunts, Sony Hostin, Joy Behar, and what's her name? The Vieira woman. I'm always forgetting her first name and what have you, but y'all know who I'm talking about. The loud talkers, the yappers, the chatterboxes, people who are not in politics, who think they know everything about politics. I don't want The View to get canceled. There are a lot of people who are hoping that The View gets canceled in the way in which Joy Reid got canceled. I don't want The View to get canceled. I want The View to stay on the air. I want the volume to go up on The View. I want the volume because there are a lot of Democrats who take The View as gospel. There are a lot of Democrats who use The View as role models, talking, no analysis, no depth, no strategy, no experience, nothing but hot air. All they do is engage in character assassination and defamation, calling Trump names, calling Elon Musk names, spewing venom and vitriol to every Republican and every person who did not vote their way. I want the volume to go up on The View. I want all those chatterbox. I want the feminists to keep talking. I want the feminists to keep on talking and talk about it. I want them to continue to talk about how horrible they think Trump is. I want them to get on every podcast, every platform, every media outlet that exists. And I want them to do what they do so that they would further dig their holes, dig their graves. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen is that we're going to be living in a truly one-party America. That is exactly what we're going to be experiencing. Thank you, Barry Little, man. Good to see you. Good to see you, Glorilla Multiverse Crockett. He said, I hate the autocorrect on this phone. Thank you, Barry Little. Keep talking. These women in Congress. These women in Congress, man, I tell you, brothers, you know, it's one thing to talk. You know, these people are good talkers. You have a lot of word salad people that are out there. The women, the female Congress people, they're good at word salad. These Democratic people in Congress, the women in particular, elected people, AOC. Oh, I can't forget about AOC now. We can't forget about AOC. She is the queen. AOC is the queen of the word salad. The queen of the word salad. The queen of the word salad. I want AOC to continue to give us more word salad, more word salad. AOC doesn't give you policy. AOC doesn't give you vision. AOC doesn't give you anything other than word salad, just word salad. Everything that she says comes from some women's studies department. Everything that she says comes from some socialist group in New York City. Everything that she says comes from some obscure LGBTQ think tank somewhere on the Northeast. Continue, AOC, to give us your academic, impractical word salad. Don't give any legislation. Do not demonstrate that you really know how to get things done in Congress. Just talk, talk, talk. Yap, 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 yap. And continue to move people away from the Democratic Party. Continue to tell the world that you belong to a do-nothing party. I want you to do that, AOC. Continue to tell the world that you belong to the party of do absolutely nothing but talk. Talk, 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 talk. That's all they do is talk. And they're good talkers. They're good talkers. I'm going to give it to them, man. They're good talkers. They're more articulate than me. They are more articulate than me, man. They know how to talk. They're experts at the word salad. But get ready. Trump is draining the swamp, and Trump is playing a very, very long game, my guys. And it's important that you understand that this is not new with these Republicans. They've majored in the long game. They major in the long game. People are complaining about the economy right now. They're complaining about some of the instability. There are people who are losing their jobs, and I understand that. They're making these cuts to the government, getting rid of some of these needless jobs and this needless spending and what have you. And, a lot of people are freaking out. I don't think that Trump is going to mess around with Social Security. I think they're trying to get rid of the fraud that's in Social Security. But I think the plan is a long-term strategy. So the strategy is that the American people are going to have to deal with a little bit of discomfort. You're going to have to deal with a little bit of friction, some tension in the short term. Tariffs create short-term tension. His whole economic policy, economic nationalism, there is short term. So you do things in the short term in order to save, in order to redirect resources to the right places. You do things in the short term in order to create a buffer and to create prosperity in the long term. We don't know what the consequences, we don't know exactly what the long-term consequences will be in terms of Trump's economic strategies, okay? But the point is, they're aware that, people are going to, they're going to feel it in their pockets. People are feeling it in their pockets. And it's also important to know that, Trump is inheriting Biden's economy. He's inheriting Biden's inflation. He's inheriting Biden's unemployment rate. He's inheriting all these things, okay? So that's a part of the mix. But you go through tension, you go through growing pains in order to see long-term rewards. That's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of balancing the budget. And I have to say this, if you listen to these people who get on TV, who represent the DNC, Jasmine Crockett in particular, you would think that what Trump is doing is new. It's not new. It is not new. Bill Clinton did it during his 2 terms. Hell, Bill Clinton did it during his first term. Bill Clinton had to balance the U.S. budget when he was in office. And that's exactly what he did. He balanced the budget, and they had to make major cuts when he was in office. And guess what? There were people who lost their jobs, federal employees who lost their jobs when Bill Clinton made cuts to the federal budget. And he didn't do it by himself now. It was bipartisan. It was a bipartisan endeavor. And when you look at Bill Clinton's economic policy and everything that came out of it, there is no way for any person in the Democratic Party to suggest somehow or another that Trump is doing something that has never been done. This is nonsense. They want us to believe. They want us because they believe that we're ignorant. They believe that the American people are ignorant, that the American people don't have any common sense or what have you. And so they play on what they perceive as ignorance, okay? But what Trump is doing is not unlike what has been done in the past. Now, what's different? Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Thank you for that, man. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers says, as a moderate Democrat, Dr. Neal, I don't have a problem with this conversation and topic. Personally, I appreciate the competition. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's competition. Absolutely, absolutely. But what I was saying is what's unprecedented. Let me say what's different about this administration right here is that they're actually doing it. They're going after agencies that up to this point had not been audited. This conversation about the Department of Education, this is a real thing. This is a real thing. The Democrats have been stuck in terms of education. The reality on the ground is that our educational system is not working for everybody. Our public education system in particular, we are still producing people who are behind. We are behind other nations. There are nations that are, more advanced than us in terms of education. Now, we're a little bit different because our system of education is, it's tax funded, it's public, and there are a lot of countries in the world where they don't have the kind of system of education that we have. You understand? But still, the problems that they're trying to attack in education in terms of low performance are problems which have existed for decades. The first book that I wrote, called Democracy in 21st Century America, Race, Class, Religion, and Region. It came out back in 2012. It was published by Mercer University Press. I wrote an entire chapter back then, over 10 years ago, back then on what I called the brain drain. The brain drain. That we have a brain drain in this country, okay? And our public educational system is a part of that brain drain, okay? We have a 2-tiered system of education. One domain benefits those who are in the middle class and those who are upper middle class. And then you have the other tier of education where you have lower income people, high poverty people, and those people are being failed. All right. And it's an abomination. Okay. And this is not good for the United States of America. Okay. And it's the people at the top who have the position, they're in the position to give their children the most advantages, particularly in public education, the most advantages in terms of how children are prepared for the future. That's just a real thing. The Department of Education has to be reassessed. It has to be reorganized, if not completely eliminated. You understand? And so, it's that. You got a system K through 12. The vast majority of the teachers, female. The vast majority of the administrators, female. All right. And what do you have? Failure. Failure in Baltimore, Maryland. Failure in Los Angeles, California. Failure in Memphis, Tennessee. Democrats, where you have Democrats in power, where you have, some of the worst, public educational systems, districts, and what have you. So, I mean, how long do you allow this to go on? Forever? Another 100 and 150 years? You understand? And you think that bureaucracy doesn't have anything to do with this? Bureaucracy is a part of this. And, and that has to be dealt with. And Mr. Rogers is absolutely right. It's about competition. It's about competition. And unfortunately, this Democratic Party fails to meet the test. And the way I look at it, guys, I want you to think about football. I want you to think about football, my friends. And I want you to think about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party as football teams. And the best way for me to articulate this is I want you to think about the Republican Party as the Crimson Tide, Alabama. Gold Tide, the University of Alabama. And if it's not Alabama, it's the University of Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs. I want you to think about these schools that have dominated college football for decades and decades and decades and decades. And think about how they play. Think about how they play offense. Think about how they play defense. And then I want you to think about the Democratic Party in terms of an Ivy League football team. Think about the Democratic Party as Harvard's football team or Yale's football team or some football team which is part of the Ivy League. Now, if you know anything about Ivy League football is not going to give you the best football in the world. Ivy League football, you got the nerds, you got the brainiacs and stuff like that. Most of their people don't even make it to the NFL. But just imagine Harvard's football team going against the Crimson Tide, the University of Alabama. I want you to think about that. Think about the University of Alabama going head to head with Harvard. I don't have to tell you what the outcome is going to be. I don't have to tell you what that game looks like. 4 quarters. You can only imagine what the University of Alabama would do to Harvard on the football field. Excuse me. And this is what we're dealing with right here. You see, the Republicans have offense and they have defense. You got a strong offense, you got a strong quarterback, you got a strong offensive line, you've got the receivers, you got tight ends, you've got a backfield, you have all of that. And then they've got defense. They've got a strong front line. They've got defensive ends. They've got 4 linebackers. You know what I mean? They do their 4-4 defense. You got that strong safety. You got those defensive backs, all-star defensive backs. You understand? And so that's what they're dealing with. You see, Trump is playing offense right now. Trump ain't got to play no defense. Here's the thing. Trump is playing offense right now. That's all he's doing is playing offense. Trump is running up the clock on these jokers. You understand what I mean? All he is doing is flooding the zone. Okay? Those executive orders, man, I mean, that's just, that is pure football. You understand? That's it. You just, I mean, you were getting first down after first down after first down. You were throwing, 60-yard passes. You're throwing, passes in the end zone. You know what I mean? 80-yard. I mean, just imagine, just bombing the devil out of these people, and that's basically what they're doing. You've got a quarterback who has a strong offensive line, and all they're doing is they're pummeling the defense. The Democratic Party has absolutely no defense when it comes down to this Republican Party, none whatsoever. They have absolutely no defense. They don't know how to deal with Trump's offense. That's just the reality of it, okay? And definitely they have no offense. The Democrats, they have no quarterback. They have no offensive line. They don't have good receivers. They don't have a tight end. They don't have a backfield. They don't have any personnel that is going to be able to stop. They can't stop Trump. They just can't. They can't move the ball. They can't move the ball at all. Okay. They're trying to kick field goals and stuff like that. They can't even kick. They can't. They're hoping that they can get a punt off. You understand? And it's not even working. Kickoff returns. They're hoping that special teams. Step in and do something. They're pathetic right now, and they are losing. And so, this is the real deal. And so, it's important that you guys prepare for what's next. JD is the next quarterback. He's on the bench. They've got a whole bunch of people. They've got Tulsi Gabbard. They got Robert F. Kennedy. They've got Byron Donalds. They got a whole bunch of other people, man. They got Ron DeSantis. They've got younger people. They've got the media in terms of the independent media. They got the podcasts and all of that. They have the advantage. You understand? They've got people on their team who are thinking about the next 8 years, who are thinking about the next 12 years, thinking about the next 16 years. They are all about power. And Black men need to understand. Black men need to understand that it is important to move with power. Negotiate this power. Negotiate with power. Okay, deal with power as it presents itself to you. The Democratic Party is done. It is finished. And I do not see this party coming back anytime in the future. Thank you, TIQS, for that $20, man. Thank you, man. I'm going to keep it up, brother. I'm going to keep it up, man. Thank you for it. I don't see them coming back. The Democratic Party is gynocentric. It is a gynocentric party, which means that it's going to lose men as it goes forward. It's going to lose men. It's going to lose heterosexual men. It is gynocentric. It is LGBTQ. It's going to lose them. The Democratic Party is anti-working class, so they're going to lose more people in the working class, in the lower middle class, and what have you. They have no economic vision. They're just going to lose more people. They don't have any structure. They have no discipline. There's no real organization there. And part of it has to do with the gynocentric ethos of the party. Gynocentrism has no structure. Gynocentrism has no discipline. Gynocentrism is driven mainly by immediate gratification. Immediate gratification. Gynocentrism is not long-term in its vision, especially when it comes down to this thing called politics. It's just not there, okay? The Republican Party is becoming stronger in terms of masculinity, traditional masculinity, men who think in terms of competition, men who think in terms of delayed gratification, men who think in terms of power. You have to deal with Russia. You have to deal with China. You have to deal with Iran. You have to deal with foreign policy. You have to deal with military. You need a strong military, that sort of thing. You need to be concerned about money. You can't be a spendthrift. You see, you can't be a spendthrift. You just can't waste money on everything. You don't want to turn your country into one big welfare state. Okay. You don't want to have a country where, you know, you treat it like it's some charitable organization. Okay. Like it's the Salvation Army. You don't want to have that. You understand? You have to have boundaries. You have to have clear lines of demarcation when it comes down to how you navigate society. And this is one reason why I've shifted. This is the reason why I have shifted. Like I said, I used to be a Democrat. I am a registered independent. Yeah, I couldn't go the Democratic Party way, and I said I'm not doing it again. I am happy about how I voted. If I had the chance, I would vote the same way again. I suspected that this would be the outcome of it. And I think that this is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I said, when you have a party, a political party, which is essentially a clown show, you see the thumbnail. You see the thumbnail. The Democratic Party is basically a clown show. It is basically a minstrel show. Thank you, Ghetto User, man. Thank you, Ghetto User. Appreciate that. The Democratic Party is basically a minstrel show. It is a confederation of clowns. That's exactly what it is, a confederation of clowns who think that some politics from the 1950s, strategies from the 1950s are going to get them out of the hole that they are in. They really believe that. And I'm going to say that, man, these black Democrats are the sorriest of them all. The black Democrats, sorriest of them all. And I never thought that I would live to see a day where you have so many black people who have affiliated with this party, and they continue to vote. Black people continue to vote in high numbers. Black people continue to allow this party to manipulate its political capital. I have never ever seen so many black people who are stuck on silly, who are stuck on stupid, who are talking right now like it is 1955, like it is 1955. I was on Instagram, and there's a black woman who's a lawyer, Monique Presley. She had a post on Instagram talking about the Klan and white supremacists and all this kind of stuff and all the fear, and we don't know what's going to happen. And I responded to her Instagram post. She's a smart woman. She's a lawyer. She defended Bill Cosby, and she was a part of his initial legal team. Okay, so she's a smart woman. And I went on her post and I told her, I said, listen, honey, I said, this is not 1950. We are not living in the 1950s. All this stuff that you're saying about, you know, white nationalism and everything like that, this is just fear-mongering nonsense. I said, you are too old. She and I are around the same age. You are too old to be talking like this, you know. And you're a lawyer. You know the Constitution, okay? And you know, that's the most egregious part of it, is that you have lawyers out there defending the Democratic Party and talking nonsense about fear, who's supposed to know the Constitution, who's supposed to know what the limits are on the president, who are supposed to understand the rule of law and checks and balances and that sort of thing. And you listen to these people and you wonder if these people ever went to law school. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a law degree. Okay. All right. But I know what's inside the Constitution. I know how government works. I know how each branch works. I know we have a Second Amendment. You know, you worried about some type of white boogeyman. All you got to do is exercise that Second Amendment. That's all you got to do. You worried about if the white boogeyman scares you that much, exercise the Second Amendment. That's it. You better go to your Constitution. You need to write the whole Second Amendment down. Matter of fact, you might want to go to the tattoo parlor and get the Second Amendment tattooed on your arm, or on your chest, or on your belly, or on your thigh. Put it somewhere. You need to do that. But it's a clown show. It's a clown show. What's going on, Wrench Turner? Good to see you. Good to see you. It's a clown show. It is a clown. It is a complete clown show. And what makes me mad is that these people have been thoroughly indoctrinated by propaganda, thoroughly brainwashed by this party, brainwashed by those institutions related to the party. You know, MSNBC. You have Black Democrats who think that MSNBC is real news. They think that CNN is real news. They really believe that. They believe that they get real information from MSNBC. You have all these people who have been brainwashed by their professors in colleges and universities, and people in the humanities and social sciences and all that kind of stuff. They've been brainwashed by intersectionality. Intersectionality got them believing in a bunch of nonsense, stuff that doesn't even exist. You understand? It's just brainwashed. You understand? It's so deep. You got these Black people out here talking about DEI as though, DEI is their savior. DEI is that white savior. It is that liberal white savior. And if you take away DEI, we're no longer going to have our liberal white savior, and we're going to go back into slavery and all that kind of stuff. And these are supposedly college educated people. College. So when I listen to Roland Martin and the stuff that comes out of his mouth, and I listen to Bakari Sellers and the stuff that comes out of his mouth, and to a certain degree, Mark Lamont Hill, all these people who are just stuck. They just stuck. Their vision, their understanding of politics is so warped. And I'm like, you know what? These liberals have done a job on Black people. These white liberals have done a major psyops on large numbers of Black people, particularly your professional class, your Black middle class. These people, seemingly, they are incapable of thinking outside of their bubbles and their narrow perspectives. It's like they don't understand power and how power works. They don't understand it. And their understanding of Black people is so juvenile and so infantilized. They see Black people as children who need to be led by white liberals. Black people are children who need to be led by liberal white women. Black people need to be led by liberal white men. These are our parents, our mothers, and our fathers. Completely brainwashed. And you can't even talk to these people. And Jasmine Crockett represents that. You look at Crockett, man. Look at Crockett. Look at how she talks. Look at how she talks. She sounds like a white liberal when she talks, a white Democrat. There is no difference in terms of her worldview from any of those white liberal women who are in Congress or any white liberal woman that you can encounter. You meet them anywhere, on the street, in the grocery store, on the university campuses and all that kind of stuff. They got the same worldview, the same ideas. Jasmine Crockett out here talking about Ukraine, 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 telling the world that she stands for Ukraine. And I'm like, woman, do you have a clue as to what a black person is in Ukraine? Do you have a clue as to what an African is going through in Ukraine? Do you have an idea as what Africans deal with, or black people in Eastern Europe? And you out here talking about Ukraine, 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 Ukraine. And if she's not talking about Ukraine, 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 she's talking about these immigrants, talking about these people who don't belong here, who are illegal. No, they're not just undocumented, they are illegal. Illegal, okay? They came over here, they came through the back door. They did not walk through the front door. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people flooding all these sanctuary cities. She believes that America should be a welfare state. People like Crockett, that America, the American nation, should be a welfare state, and that we should take in every citizen from every country on this planet without any vetting whatsoever. And we should put up whatever cost it takes to transition them or what have you. Food stamps, Section 8, EBT, everything that you want to think about. And I'm like, you know what? I had to tell a woman this some years ago, because I had a conversation with a woman years ago on immigration, and she was perturbed and flustered about detention camps and ICE and what ICE was doing. This is way back in 2017, and she asked me what I thought about it, and I said, well, they took a risk by coming to the United States. They don't have papers, and so they have to deal with the consequences of coming to the United States. And she didn't quite like my response. And I told this young woman, this liberal black woman who I was dating at the time, I said, if you love these people so much, who have no paperwork, who came here illegally, if you love them so much, why don't you open up your apartment to them and you let them come live with you? How about that? If you are so gung-ho that they need to be here and we need to transition them and help them, and they have not gone through a vetting process, you need to open up your apartment and allow them to live with you. You see? And she couldn't respond, in an intelligent fashion when I said that to her, because to her, this is just some theoretical thing. This is just some abstract, liberal, philosophical, a do-gooder gesture. And in 2017, you know what they were doing in 2017. This is before John Lewis had passed away. You have people out here comparing, these illegal people to black people. You know what I mean? Comparing their situation to the Black American situation. I'm like, no, it ain't no comparison. It ain't the same. Why are you comparing these people who came here on their own to us? It makes no sense. Wrench Turner is in the house, man. Thank you for that contribution. Wrench Turner says the Marxists and socialists turned colleges into indoctrination camps. They did. Nevertheless, most people don't have a college education, so a small group attempted to muscle the masses, and it failed miserably. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. And you guys know that I work in higher education. Y'all know that. And speaking of higher education, I thank you for that, Rich Turner. Trump is not playing. Trump is putting pressure. He's put pressure on universities. He is taking away funding. Taking away funding from institutions. I just saw a report where Columbia University has lost $400 million in government grants because of what has been going on there since October 7th in terms of protest, the Palestinian and the Israeli situation, and Trump said, this university, they've been accused of supporting anti-Semitism, which they see as racism, and they say, if you have a university that supports anti-Semitism, where the government is not going to support you in any kind of way, we're going to cut off funding from all sorts of scientific research. We're going to cut off funding from all type of humanistic research. And Trump decided to make an example out of Columbia University, an Ivy League school. And right now, universities all over this country are shaking in their boots. Universities all over this country are adjusting. They are modifying. They are, revising programs. They are restructuring how they do academic freedom and how they do freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff, because they don't want the Trump administration to take away money from them. All this political correctness. And basically what it comes down to, decades and decades and decades and decades of political correctness on college and university campuses is now being defunded by the Trump administration. And these institutions and their presidents are capitulating. They are surrendering to the orange man. I never thought I'd ever see it. I never thought I'd ever see anything like this in my entire life. Never. All that political correctness, all that calling men toxic, all that toxic masculinity talk that comes out of colleges and university campuses, Trump is calling that discrimination. He's calling it discrimination. He's calling it hate. Discrimination. Men are evil, men are wicked, all that stuff that's coming out of these colleges and universities. You can walk in these classrooms and they be talking like that. All of it. He said, no, we're gonna defund you. We're gonna defund you. Yeah. Yeah, they said we're gonna defund you. You all been talking. I said, y'all been talking greasy about these white males for decades now. Trump said you've been talking greasy about these white males and said that the white males are responsible for all the wickedness on the planet. Now they're not completely wrong about what white men have done in the world. Now I got to put that qualification out there. Now history is history, doggone it. History is history. But the point is that if you create a situation where people feel like they are experiencing prejudice and discrimination based on the fact that they are white and male, now they're putting policies in place where these guys can, they can sue universities and all that kind of stuff. This is what some of the men's rights advocates, they were doing some of this stuff, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They weren't always successful with that. A lot of the stuff didn't go anywhere. But now it's here. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that the men's rights people were saying, about especially state universities and how state universities were engaging in discriminatory practices towards men, creating scholarships mainly for women and stuff like that, with state funding. They can't do that anymore. Yeah, they're changing all that stuff. They are changing all of that stuff. So this is a whole different day, guys. This is a whole different day, you see. And see, this is the Republicans. See, the Republicans, they use money to exercise power. You see, the Republicans, and that's the thing about the Republicans. And Democrats, they just poor at doing it. The Democrats, they're trying to boycott DEI, and that fell flat on its face. But the Republicans, the conservatives, are good with using money to wield power. Yeah. So if they don't like something, what they're going to do is defund it. Yeah. They're going to find a way to defund it. You understand? If they see something happening in the government, yeah, they're going to. That's what the whole anti-DI thing is about. We're going to defund this. We're going to take away all the money from it, and basically that's what they're doing with the colleges and universities. So we're not going to fund. You're not going to fund all this anti-male rhetoric. We're not going to fund this stuff. We're going to defund it. You see, we're going to defund this type of discrimination. You see, and the culture conservatives, they did that with Budweiser. Yeah, they forced the culture conservatives. They boycotted Budweiser. The cultural conservatives, they boycotted Target. The cultural conservatives boycotted all those corporations that were pandering to the LGBTQ. And they said that they were no longer going to buy their products. They were no longer going to shop there and everything. It's a similar strategy, and I have to say this. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Thomas Sowell. He gets some things right. But Thomas Sowell's, has said this in terms about economics and human behavior. It's not an insight that's unique to Thomas Sowell, but if you want more of something, what you do is you incentivize it. If you want more single mothers, then what you need to do is you need to incentivize single motherhood. You need to reward it. If you want less single motherhoods, what you need to do is you need to take away the rewards. Do not incentivize it. Do not reward it. Do not fund it. You understand what I'm saying? If you want so-called good behavior, you need to incentivize good behavior. If you want to get rid of bad behavior, you need to take away the rewards from bad behavior. You need to tax bad behavior. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want less of something, what do? You put a tax on it. You take away rewards. If you want more of something, you create incentives. That is it. So the universities right now, they have been de-incentivized in terms of how they have been doing things in the humanities and the social sciences. I just saw right now a post where the University of Notre Dame has just implemented a hiring freeze. The University of Notre Dame, which is a private Catholic institution, it is not a state-run institution. The University of Notre Dame has implemented a hiring freeze. They are not hiring any new professors. They're not hiring. They're not hiring, and they're not hiring because Trump is in the office. He's in the White House. That's why they're not hiring. They're taking away all that research money. There it is. Thank you, Nub Glory. The white liberals who control the Democratic Party used a divide and conquer strategy to weaken FBAs by pitting FBA women against FBA men. Absolutely, that's what they did. And it's over. It's over now. It's done. It is over. It is completely done, guys. It is a wrap. Dr. Johnson did a stream some time ago where he asked the question whether the gynocracy has come to an end. And my response is yes, it's over with. The gynocracy has come to an end because defunding has come to an end. The funding is over, bro. He's taking away the funding. Yeah. You don't have a gynocracy without someone underwriting it. Yeah, you don't have it. The government underwrites it. Corporate America underwrites it. It's underwritten by so many entities. And so once the money is taken away, it cannot exert itself in a way in which it typically has. Okay. So yeah, guys. So I don't want to be out here too much longer, guys. And I may have to do another part on this. The Republican Party, this is my prediction, that the Republican Party is going to dominate American politics at minimum for the next 12 years. And what we're witnessing right now is another iteration of Reagan and Bush. Ronald Reagan had two terms, 1980, 1984. From 1980, he went from 1980 to 1988, those two terms. And then George Herbert Walker Bush was elected in 1988, and he served from 88 to 1992. And then that's when Bill Clinton came on the scene. And basically, Bill Clinton became the savior of the Democratic Party. They're gonna need another savior. Yeah, they're gonna need somebody like a Bill Clinton again. I don't see another Bill Clinton coming on in the horizon, but the Democratic Party is going to need another savior figure like Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton, had he not stepped on the scene, George H.W. may have, extended his term until 1996. Yeah, 1996. Yeah. He would have extended his term. But yeah, the Republicans dominated the 80s and the beginning of the 1990s. The Democrats really had no response to the Republican Party during that era, the Reagan era. And we, in many respects, are in Reagan, the Reagan 2.0 right now. J.D. Vance is a skilled politician. J.D. Vance is flexing his muscles as a vice president. And I think you're going to see more of him during this term. I think Trump is going to create a situation where the public sees JD's political skills. And all I'm saying about Republican domination for the next 12 years hinges on the Republican Party not creating their own internal disasters. Yeah. The only way for the Democratic Party to get any points on the board is if the Republican Party has a misstep, if they shoot themselves in the foot or something just happens out of the blue. If we go to war, I don't know. If we have a war, that might be the best hope for the Democratic Party if we go to war. It might. There ain't no guarantee now. If we go to war, that might. I don't know if that'll do it. It might do the reverse. If we go to war and we successfully, win a war or whatever, that will only solidify the stronghold that the Republicans have. But this is where we are, guys. Shout out again to Jasmine Crockett. The Clown Show. The Clown Show is just giving the Republican Party more of an advantage. That's all it is. And unfortunately, the Clown Show that is Jasmine Crockett and others is indicative of how lost the Democratic Party is in general. And it tells us a lot about how lost the Black Democrat is. The Black Democrat who is like her, the Black Democrat who continues to talk, who has no strategy, who has no vision. All they can do is name call. All they can do is curse. All they can do is engage in ghetto antics, sister girl antics. All they can do is perform and look like a reality TV star, loving hip hop. As long those Black folks are in a tragic situation. I never thought I would see Black people of that ilk be so pathetic. Be so pathetic. So much so that I don't even want to have. I wouldn't even enter into any type of political discussions with these people whatsoever. People like Jasmine Crockett, I would not entertain any type of political conversation with her at all. If I'm in a room full of people like Jasmine Crockett, I'm not talking politics with them at all. At all. Period. Because they don't have the toolkit necessary. They don't have the sensibilities. They don't have the foresight. These people have self-destructed. It's just the way it is, guys. Anyway, brothers, I just wanted to say that plan ahead, brothers. Plan ahead. Be strategic. Engage in delayed gratification. I need you guys to think about the next 12 years and how you're going to position yourself with respect to the next 12 years. I'm glad that you guys were here tonight. It's Sunday. I'm going to sign off real soon. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out, Dark Bushdo. And I'm going to see you guys real soon. This has been another BMI 3000 presentation. I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. You guys take care. I'm out. Peace.